Style for me, whoa, we're all in it. Style for me is something that pulls you towards it. Even on the field, my style has always been to be involved. I wanted every ball to come to me, and this is what allowed me to be a trendsetter and set me apart from my peers. As your style blender for this evening, I invite you to celebrate the journey of good taste and style in this edition of Blenderspride Fashion Tour. Now, my style has been influenced by the diversity of the people, the blend of colors, and the passions that you find in South Africa, the Rainbow Nation. However, my style is constantly evolving due to the amazing places I've traveled to and by the incredible people I have met. Constantly evolving. You know, the one thing that is certain, there is going to be change. And I've learned on the cricket field especially, and in life, that there's three ways of handling that change. One, you can turn your back on it and say, that's not for me. The second way is to embrace it and say, wow, that's a great idea. Let me take that on board. Or the third way, and I've seen it being really successful on the field, is to be the initiator of change. And you think back to the 1996 World Cup. It was hosted here in 3 countries. And I'm going back to 96, not because South Africa won the World Cup. We know that's not true. But can you remember who won the World Cup in 1996? Sri Lanka, exactly. You guys do know your cricket here. And I thought it was just bad pitches that did all the work, all the damage. But Sri Lanka changed the way cricket was played. Prior to that, they had gone out, like everybody else, build an innings, and then have a total onslaught in the last 10 overs. They tried that in 1992 at the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, and they ended up coming stone last in that competition. So they decided, we're not going to go that route. What we're going to do is we're going to chase the game from ball 1. Instead of for 15 overs, everybody else was looking for 45 or 50 for the loss of only 1 wicket. The Sri Lankan said, let's go for 100. 2 or 3 wickets down, that's fine. But let's take the game away from the opposition. And the rest of us teams, South Africa looking for a big, tall Pat Simcox, who can be a pinch hitter? But with Sanath Jayasuriya and Kalu, the Sri Lankans took the game away, and the rest of us countries were playing catch-up. So they were one country that changed the way that cricket was played, and they were certainly world leaders in the game. So even though my style is constantly evolving, there's always a consistency to it. As the core of me, my essence still remains the same. And the essence of my style on the field was influenced by 2 things. Firstly, just as we're going to see a collaboration here this evening, my fielding style came about through a collaboration of a variety of sports. Cricket was a game that, sure, it's about batting and bowling most of the time in India. But I was fortunate enough that growing up in South Africa, where we spent a lot of time outdoors and played a multitude of sports, my hockey, my football, and my tennis all contributed and collaborated and allowed me to be the fielder that I was throughout my career. And add to that my inability to stand still. As you've probably noticed, I've been rocking and rolling a bit up here. My fielding style evolved out of this collaboration of the various sporting codes. I suppose the perfect collaboration for me, and one that probably sums up my career to most fans that I have in India, was a rather stormy day in Brisbane in the 1992 World Cup. A collaboration between Mother Nature, a massive rainstorm that came down and made us break play for a while, that set Pakistan a very tough target to chase. Collaboration of Inzamam's inability to run between the wickets, my inability to throw the stumps down, which made me run towards the wickets and trip over my shoelaces, land head first, and a photographer, wide awake to that opportunity, who took a great picture, would suddenly beam me across the world as this youngster who can play the game. So from that point of view, my style evolved out of this entire collaboration. The second thing that influenced my style as a player was this attitude that I had. And that is, freedom to fail is vital if you're going to succeed. None of us like to fail, myself included. We all have egos, no matter who you are and what you do, what environment that you're in. We all have egos, some of them slightly larger than others, but none of us like to fail. But if you go out there concerned about failing, you're going to stand right where you are. And for me, I'd be diving for balls that would go past. It didn't matter to me if I dropped the ball or missed it. In fact, my teammates used to get a bit frustrated because they had this term for me. It was called a TV dive. Oh, Jonty, you'll never have reached it. You were just diving so the television could pick you up and you'd stand up and your arms were grazed and you were bleeding from your elbows and your mother could say, look at my boy. Isn't he wonderful doing this for South Africa? But it wasn't about that. I didn't want to stand there, watch the ball go past me, and then wonder, if I had dived, could I have stopped it? So that was something that the essence of me as a fielder, that was my style of fielding throughout my career. 50 over matches and even 90 overs of test cricket, I was still running around towards the end of the day. The 2003 South African World Cup, we hosted it, but not for long. We didn't get past the first stage. But in the second match, we played against the West Indies, and I remember Brian Lara, we ended up losing that match by 3 runs. And Brian Lara scored a fine century against us, unfortunately, as he did in many World Cups. I dived for the ball and clipped the end of my finger, and it went for 4. I dived full length. I still couldn't stop it. And at the end of the day, when we had lost by 3 runs, I sat in the dressing room thinking, if I had stopped that ball, we could have saved the 4, and we could have won in the end, because the 3 runs was the difference. And then after 10 minutes of feeling sorry for myself and letting my ego have a recovery, I then thought, well, rather I've dived, I know I couldn't stop it. And if I'd gone back to the dressing room and thought, imagine if I had dived, could I have stopped the ball? And that, for me, again, the essence of my fielding. Life has influenced me in becoming, hopefully, a better human being, and it constantly motivates me to do something extraordinary. So what is your style mantra? How do you associate with the world around you? Do you let life inspire you and leave its taste that stays forever? I taste life in a style that's me. What about you? Thank you.
रिएक्शन था मुझे देखकर? अच्छा, मेरा इतना एक्सट्रीम रिएक्शन नहीं था, मतलब हाँ ठीक है, ठीक ठाक लग रही हूँ, मतलब इतने बेहतरीन कपड़े पहनकर तो एक प्रिंसेस की तरह जो कपड़े हैं पहने हैं मैंने आज, तो एकदम प्रिंसेस की तरह फील कर रही हूँ। और बहुत ही खूबसूरत कलेक्शन था, मैं बैक स्टेज से देख रही थी जे वलाया का, और मैं बहुत खुश हुआ आज यहाँ पर वॉक करके। I think it's a beautiful blend of a lot of worlds. J Valaya is somebody who's always been so creative. मुझे याद है जब मैं as an usher volunteer करती थी Fashion Week पर, तो हम wait करते थे कि कब इनका show आए और हम देखें, क्योंकि ये इतने सारे elements को लेकर अपना collection बनाते हैं. And I think this one is also as stunning, as beautiful, and as and a wonderful amalgamation of a lot of elements. You don't watch TV? Indian Idol I was on, then I've traveled, I've done so many shows, I've been doing a lot of appearances, I'm walking the ramp. So it's been actually been a very, very busy year for me, and I couldn't be more thankful. I think I've got a lot of work done professionally and personally as well. I think I've had a lot of time to grow as a person as well. So I'm very fulfilled with the year that I've had. स्टाइल का मतलब आई थिंक स्टाइल ऐसी चीज़ होती है जो अपने अंदर होती है. इट डजंट ऑलवेज हैव टू डू विद फैशन. स्टाइल किसी के चाल में होता है, जिस तरह से वो बात करते हैं शायद उसमें होता है, जिस तरह से मतलब इट कुड बी अ पार्ट ऑफ योर पर्सनैलिटी, एंड आई थिंक इट्स इन बिल्ट इन एवरी वन. फॉर मी स्टाइल आइकॉन्स वुड बी रेखा जी, जो हमेशा शी इज़ सो एफर्टलेस, और यू नो इतने सालों से उन्होंने अपने स्टाइल को बरकरार रखा है. एक मतलब जैसे वो लगती है एंड यू नो दैट इट्स रेखा, दिस इज़ मतलब यू नो इट्स हर. सो शी आई थिंक इज़ अ वेरी वेरी ग्रेट स्टाइल आइकॉन. Like I said, JJ Valaya is somebody who, from my fashion designing days, is somebody that I've been always looking up to, and he's somebody who blends a lot of beautiful worlds into the threads that he weaves. So, आपने collection तो अभी देख ही लिया होगा. I think beautiful colors. I mean, so wearable. मेरी मम्मी तो फ्रंट रो पे बैठी थी और कह रही थी कि अरे इतने अच्छे अच्छे कपड़े थे, you know. So it's something that even I would love to wear, and somebody probably of her age would also love to wear. अभी फ़िलहाल तो नहीं, बट आगे जाकर क्यों नहीं, नेवर से नेवर. मैंने फैशन डिज़ाइनिंग पढ़ा है, तो आई थिंक आगे जाकर मैं कर पाऊँगी. जी पूछिए. थोड़ी मैडम ने माइक उल्टा पकड़ा, चेंज करो दो मैडम से माइक. हाँ, मैं रोज़ चलती हूँ रैम्प पर. हाँ, मैं काफ़ी बार चल चुकी हूँ, तो अभी अच्छा भी लगता है, एंड येस आई डू फील मोर कॉन्फिडेंट. आई थिंक जिस तरह से आपकी एक्सपीरियंस बढ़ती जाती है इंडस्ट्री में, आप जब पहले कोई भी न्यू आता है तो शायद लड़खड़ाते हैं, एंड आई थिंक अभी आई एम प्रीटी कॉन्फिडेंट आई कैन डू दिस, एंड आई एन्जॉय इट. सो No, it's very old friendship. School से जानती हूँ उसे.
So Sonakshi, Salman will be celebrating his 50th birthday this year. Do you have any plans?
Do you have any questions on the Blenderspride fashion tour? Anyone? जी. नहीं, मुझे तो बहुत खुशी होती है जब वो आती है मेरे साथ. आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट हर शो के लिए आती हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें बहुत अच्छा लगता है मुझे वॉक करते हुए देखना, एंड शी फील्स रियली रियली प्राउड. तो जब भी मैं फैशन शो के लिए आती हूँ तो आई आस्क हर कि आपको आना है, एंड शी इज़ लाइक ऑफ कोर्स हाँ मुझे आना है, एंड शी इज़ ऑलवेज देयर. शी इज़ माई बिगेस्ट सपोर्ट एक्चुअली. सो थैंक यू एवरीवन.